Now this little tip right here is really going to help you out. These motors are clocked in there a certain way, and if you literally move that over just a little bit too much, that wire is not going to reach that plug, which if it doesn't reach this plug right here, it's not going to reach the plug where you plug in the 10-wire motor power system. So what I always try to do is I'll mark where the clamp's at, where the plug's at. These motors are clocked in there a certain way, and they will not go another way, especially the carriers. This happens to be a good old Goodman, which we seem to love so much. The parts are easy to get, but they love to fail, though. Bless their little pea-picking heart. But yeah, mark. See that shit? Oh, it's illuminated. Oh, this particular one, number one, it has a software version there. Oh, upside down. Here we go. This particular one has a software version right there. It says software version 0.43 or 43, whatever that is. But anyway, that's the module. So I think I have been able to pop the module off and just replace it and get one running. But these Goodmans right here, I wish I could see this, show this a little bit better. But you can feel the bearing, don't. You can feel it bump, bump, bump. I don't know if the belly band damaged it, or is it just worn and that's how the bearings turn. But that thing, you can hear it, you can feel it go bump, 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 like click, click, click. You can feel each bearing in it, boom, 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 every little quarter of a turn. I think that motor was shot and the module. Man, just look how much rust is on that daggum shaft right there. If you'd have left that rust on that shaft and tried to get that thing off of there, you'd have been beating your brains out, and then you would have bent that squirrel cage and knocked her out of balance. That's a lot of rust because all the humidity goes right in this motor. To take the module off just so I can get the motor out of the unit, but here's my trick to it right here. I set it on top of a 5-gallon bucket, and after I get through sanding down the shaft, but this is a really good example right here. That shaft right there was rusty, and I guarantee you'd probably beat your brains out, not just trying to get it off of there, but get the new one on there. So if you don't emery cloth this down, if you don't sand this right here, you're begging for trouble. So I normally will sand it down like really good. I'll actually wear out the piece of emery cloth and sand the living shit out of that thing before I put any kind of looby-dooby, like Mr. Puddin says, Puddin's Fabrication. I'm gonna wait till I sand that completely down and get it completely as good as I can, and then lube it. And then I'm gonna take that set screw off, and I'm gonna knock that shaft through there, and that bucket allows the motor to go down while the bucket holds the outside of the housing and give it enough room so you to knock that shaft down through there and knock that motor out of there. That's my now I've got my shaft sanded down really good. I got the lube on there. I've got the set screw loosened up. But most importantly, when you hit this, don't hit it with a hammer and mushroom out the top of that head right there. Get you a tool or something, a little screwdriver or something, and tap down on that. But don't mangle and don't mushroom head the tip. Don't ruin it, because you'll never get it off of there. You'll be struggling. I'm trying to help you. Kind of feel like if I don't show every single step of this, some people might make the mistakes that I'm trying to get them not to make. But anyway, I got me a nice solid ass snap-on screwdriver there, and I'm gonna barely tap that baby through there. And don't bend that squirrel cage. If you bend that squirrel cage, that thing will be out of balance and it'll be whopping all in there, and them people will be pissed. Yep, be careful. Now this little tip right here is really gonna help you out. These motors are clocked in there a certain way, and if you literally move that over just a little bit too much, that wire is not going to reach that plug, which if it doesn't reach this plug right here, it's not going to reach the plug where you plug in the 10-wire motor power system. So what I always try to do is I'll mark where the clamp's at, where the plug's at. These motors are clocked in there a certain way, and they will not go another way, especially the carriers. This happens to be a good old Goodman, which we seem to love so much. The parts are easy to get, but they love to fail, though. Bless their little pea-picking heart. But yeah, mark your stuff, man. Mark the legs. Mark exactly where that plug's at and clock it back around there, or you will struggle. I've put some together before, and it was literally off by an inch or two, and it would not go back in there. And you will be frustrated out the frame. So when you're doing this and you take them bolts off like that, and that shaft just slides through there without you even trying or have to beat and bang on it, that's winner chicken dinner right there. That's how you do it. So yeah, here I've got my opinion, some people put this belly band on there and they tighten it too much and it constricts the motor. When it gets cold and hot, it expands and contracts. And I think that belly band being so incredibly tight sometimes will mash the windings of the motor. And that's just my opinion. I've seen this a couple of times before, but anyway. So I got my everything clocked kind of right. You can see I had the plug right there and the clamp and then the number 3. So I'm just about trying to put it back together just the way it is. And you might have to slide something around just barely and before you tighten that band up and get all these feet right in there. They got little spots for them, the little section right there. It goes right in that clamp and it has to be right. If you don't get this right, you'll be struggling. And you think this motor right here wouldn't be that big of a deal, but these are stupidity difficult level. And I could probably do one in 2 hours if I really, really tried, which I'm not. I don't make that kind of money. Excuse me. But anywho, you can try to do it without clocking and without marking all of this stuff. And trust me, you will struggle. You know how I know? Because I've done that before. I've beat my head into a brick wall in these daggum things. They're not easy and they're everywhere. There's millions of them. Dang, y'all. I just put that brand new motor in there. And I actually had trouble getting that brand new shaft through there. I actually had to sand that baby down to get it to go through there because it didn't really want to go through. But here's the important part. Make sure you got this squirrel cage kind of centered up and in the middle before you do this set screw right here. And whatever you do, don't forget to torque that baby down. If you don't tighten that set screw up, you're going to be in trouble because that baby is sandwiched in there. You can't reach it once you get it in there, I'm telling you. All right, here we go, y'all. I got the motor ready. We're about ready to go into battle. It's going to be some scratching and some blood going. See that thing spinning like that? But I did tuck this plug in here because this is one tight son of a bitch, man. You got to turn that sideways and jimmy it in there. You can see where I bent this out of the way. I mean, there is better ways to do it. If I could take them screws out of the side right there, I could drop that coil down because I've done that 100 times. But you can see you can't get to the screws. I have to cut the wall open or something to get to them screws, and ain't nobody got time for that. Here we go, baby. About to go into battle and squeeze that baby back in there. This sheet metal and screws and stuff will cut you, but I ain't no crap, baby. It's a redneck, baby. Let's go.